Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do another fun painting. So let's get started. Now with a beautiful, soft, warm gray color, we'll just come right here and drop in a misty background. Now as you can see, we're going to be doing a large barn today. I think it'll be really fun. We're going to really go crazy with the details. I think it'll be really interesting. So all we want to do is just have a soft background with almost no detail. We're going to have some trees back here, but they're going to be very blurry and out of focus. I wouldn't want anything competing with the barn. We're going to spend too much time with the barn. All right. See, I'm just take a clean brush and just blending it out. Next, we'll load up the 1-inch brush with a nice soft brown color with a little bit of green in it. And maybe right back here, let's just begin working on a little tree that maybe it's, oh yeah, it comes right off the top there. Very distant and misty tree. This is what I was talking about when I said we wanted a soft background. This way it won't compete with anything else we do in the barn. All right, maybe a little bit out there. Very loose. Very loose. And you can put highlight on it as long as the highlight's not too strong. Next, I'll load up the 3/4 inch brush with a little bit of red, touch of black, and some white. We get just a beautiful, soft gray color. We'll start right here and just brush in our little house. Actually, at the barn. We'll brush in the barn. There. And cover it very well. And you may need to sit here for a little while, going over the same area a few times to make sure the coat is nice and even and smooth. Not that it needs to be perfect. I just don't want to see any canvas showing through. All right, not very much paint. The less paint you can use, the better, because you're safer. You can highlight it more and more and more without having to worry about any of the colors mixing. And don't worry if some of the trees get pulled in. Not a big deal. It didn't change anything. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just fine. There. We're going to come back and highlight. This is just the very beginning stage. Now with more of a cool gray color, we'll just block in the shadow side of the barn. Now it's very foggy today, but I think the light's coming across like this. You could choose either direction because we don't really see the light source in the sky so much. There, just block it right in. And I don't think I mentioned before, but I went ahead and I did a very quick pencil sketch before we started today, and it helped me kind of understand the perspective of the barn. This will all get covered up anyway. And I kind of mapped in where maybe I want a couple of windows, or who knows, we might end up changing it later, and that's fine. Just to kind of give myself some ideas and make me a little bit more familiar with it. There. So you can always do that when you paint. Just sketch and get familiar with your subject, especially with something a little more complicated. Next, with our 1-inch brush, we'll go through some nice dark black and green. And let's go ahead and come right in this area and drop in some grass. This is just the dark part, of course. We're going to come back and throw some beautiful highlights on over this. This is just the dark. And maybe we have a little path here. I sketched that out with the pencil. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know, something around here. We'll try to leave that area open for the most part, but if we get a little paint down there, it won't hurt anything. All right, and just walk this in all the way up to our barn. It's overgrown, and so we don't want the bottom perfect. You kind of make it soft with little things growing up. We might put more detail in that later. A little bit of warm light right in here. Change the color of the grass. You don't need the underpainting so dark in this area. A little brighter there. Mix it in. There we go. That's it. Next, with a beautiful, soft, light color. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. We're going to just drop in some of the details of the boards and things in this building. Now, this is super weathered. And so I'm going to get a lot of variation here. I don't Don't want it all perfect. Don't want it all the same. All right, so I'm just streaking this brush right down, creating these boards. And don't worry about the door because we can paint it in later. Don't want to paint it in now or we'd have to cut around it very carefully. All right. We can worry about shadows because see, the light's coming this way and it would have a shadow somewhere over here. We have to figure that out later. For now, I'm not worried about it. Just too much to think about all at once, so we'll put it in later. It means some of this will be covered up. All right, don't put it on very thick or you'll have problems. Now on that roof, be a similar color. Let's just add a little more red to it though. I don't know, just change it up. And let's just put in a beautiful roof. There. Just have my very quick, kind of staggered brush strokes to give myself old shingles and all sorts of variations in here. Next, we'll use this brush and a little bit of just pure black to cut in some amazing detail lines. All these are simply areas in the boards where you can see right into the barn. And it's very interesting. Look at how that brings out the life and the character of this old building. It's been sitting here forever. Again, make sure you don't get too much texture because that'll just throw everything off. Maybe the most important thing here, not so much up and down. Up and down is easy. But when you go across, make sure that it lines up with the perspective of the house. You wouldn't want it just straight because that's not the way the house runs. See that? So angle your brush up a little to follow the angle of the building. Now right here, let's just cut in a straight line, just like this. Watch this. We're going to pull down. Oh, right across everything. This is going to give us the little cast shadow from this attachment right here. It's going to throw a shadow right across the building. Something like that. We can play around with the shadow more later. We're just getting it in place right now. Now the only thing that's going to make this look like a shadow is connecting up the dark lines. So we see we have a dark line here, but it got kind of smudged when I pulled it. So put it right back in over this transition line and put your little horizontal ones back in. That's the only thing that makes it look like a shadow. Otherwise it looks like somebody just drew a line down the painting. But look, oh, it's almost like magic. It just kind of pops right in. A couple of dark lines that go right over. Oh, it's amazing. Looks so realistic that way. Now with our filbert brush, a little bit of red, brown, maybe a touch of yellow, and some white to lighten it up. Let's go ahead and work on some beautiful, beautiful road areas back here. A little path. Kind of starts back there somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is. And maybe we'll just sort of shape it as we go here. I kind of want it out a little further like this and back in. Anything close, close is good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Just scrub it in very, very firmly into the canvas. This is going to make highlighting it easy because there's so little paint down here. And the paint we have down is very, very dry. So you'll be able to highlight very easily. Next with our fan brush, we'll just tap in some subtle grass areas. Nothing too crazy, just a little here and there. See that? All right. It's not gonna take too much of this because I don't want to go so crazy that we end up losing all the attention from the barn. Don't want to distract from the barn too much. We just need a little bit of grass down in here. It's pretty dark. You see, it's not too vibrant. All right. Next, with our liner brush, we'll just drop in some beautiful blades of grass up here. This is what's going to give our painting a nice bit of detail and contrast. There. See that? As they get further away, they should get much smaller. This really just helps to bring you forward. Brings everything together. and it just helps to make it more interesting. Now with our filbert brush, we'll just put on some highlight to this path. Now not too much, and definitely don't want it too bright. There. Just rub it right in and use such little paint here on that first coat that when you go to highlight, you really won't mix too much. In fact, you'll be able to see some of the texture of the canvas show through if you lightly brush it. A couple of those good little tricks for you really help you when you go to make paths and roads. Really just limit the amount of paint underneath. It really makes life easier. There, a couple of nice soft purple colors in there. A little bit of blue and red mixed together, just to change it up. Next, let's just drop in some fence posts out here. Something like this, just be quick and drop them in. You don't want to spend forever on them. Ooh, look at that crooked one. Don't want to spend forever on them. Something like that. See, they kind of wind back there. And if we choose, we can maybe come back here and put something small back. Maybe it comes out like that and changes direction. Now with some off-white on the liner brush, we'll just drop in a few quick little daisies. Not too many, just enough to give the appearance of some detail. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out my website, my DVDs, and also my brush line. And thanks for watching.